nice statement yesterday. But I'm wondering if you could maybe recount a couple of stories about Ray to kind of illustrate who he was or your relationship with him.
Yeah, I mean, it's going back a ways now, but I remember just being a young player and just how instrumental he was. And we had lost. We finished last year before and came in and really established how he wanted to change the culture and wanted to get back to winning. And as a young guy, he encouraged me to talk to him, and he said his door's always open. And for a young player, you're pretty intimidated to talk to the GM, but he made it a point to bring me in there sometimes, talk hockey, kind of tell me what he expected of us, and he's just someone who really empowered me personally, and I think us as a group, and you could see what developed from there. But had a huge impact on me, had a huge impact on the organization, and just forever grateful.
What about the situation where I think the two of you worked really closely on when you should be named the captain? Wasn't there some give and take, a little back and forth there?
Yeah, between him and Mike Therrien, that was a conversation, a couple conversations. But I think it's something that when you get confidence from Ray, who's been around for a long time, and then obviously Mike and older guys, that combination I think gives you a lot more confidence, especially as a young player. So that was pretty big as well.
Sid, when you were missing time with the concussion back then, I always felt like Ray cared about you more as a person than he did as the hockey player. I mean, that's certainly how it came across to us. Can you talk about just how he was during that time for you, just on a personal level?
Yeah, I mean, again, having that open door and making sure that we were communicating during that time. And then there was it was kind of new territory. There wasn't the same protocol as there is now, and it was kind of just navigating through a fairly unknown situation. So he was great to deal with, and it wasn't an easy situation, but he did his best to make sure that it was as painless as possible. And like I said, whether it was that or numerous other things over his time here, he made a huge impact.
Sid, Ray shows up in May of 06. 3 years later, you guys are holding the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
What all did he do to jumpstart that and so quick? I mean, there's obviously talented players like yourself, Gino, Mark here, but he did a lot of things, not just player personnel, but just creating an environment here. Can you go into...
Yeah, I think it was just a culture thing. I think that, the way he talked, the people that he brought in, I think we got the message right away that, we were a group that should believe in ourselves. He definitely does. He was going to give us an opportunity to win, and with it being a young team, it's easy to be patient sometimes and, look at, a long outlook. But, we showed pretty early on that, we're going to be pretty competitive, and I think all the people that he brought in and the group that he assembled, was a big reason for that.
When he so often make that major trade, Gary Roberts,
Yeah.
Gary Olsen, Jerome.
Yeah.
What's it like from a player's perspective when he's wheeling and dealing and
It's
pulling
huge.
off major
Yeah,
trades?
it's huge. I mean, that gives you a huge boost of confidence. It sends a message. That sends a message to the group. You know exactly what the expectation is, and as a player, you work so hard to have that opportunity to win and to have, to basically be given every opportunity as far as management's concerned, every resource, making trades like that. That's all you could ask for, and it's so important if you want to win.
So what does it say about the players too on the other side of that, like Red and Army? I know it was tough for them to be traded, but I feel like they still feel so strongly about Ray. Like, what does that say about him as a person that, even through that?
It says a lot. I mean, he was involved with hockey so long, and I think everybody that you talk to that, that he either worked with or has some connection to him, has some way that he impacted them. And, I think that says everything you need to know about him. And like I said, we're forever grateful to everything that he did and the impact he had. And it's something that you look back and you see where things started and where they got to, and that's a lot of him.
Well, and I asked you this too, but to be on stage last night with with Ben, with Pensguins, with these guys. Just how awesome was that?
Yeah.
Someone who loves sports to just have all
Yeah.
of that talent.
Yeah, it was unreal. I mean, just not something you ever think of. Like, what an unbelievable show. Just a great experience. Seeing Ben, seeing a bunch of guys, Paul there. Standing at center ice. You don't expect to be holding the football. Throwing for $1 million. That's the last thing you expect, and you're at center ice. So it was a little different being out there with no ice, no gear, but just an awesome experience. The fans seemed like they loved it. It was a long show too. I mean, a lot of different acts, and it was a great night.
I wanted to ask, what were the nerves going into that?
Oh yeah.
And then the excitement when.
Yeah, definitely a lot of nerves when you're going against those two arms. That's a tough. It's a tough couple of guys to go against, but we were having fun with it, and just was happy to see it go there, and obviously the reaction was great, and we had a lot of fun there, with Gino and Tanger, and just taking